Hello everyone, Robert Farrer here of Robert Farrer's Tea and Tarot, and this week a deck review. Hi everyone. This week on the show, the lovely Intuiti Creative Cards by Matteo Di Pasquale and Alessandra Mazzucchelli. For some strange reason, the designers of the cards don't appear anywhere on the box as far as I can see, and don't appear anywhere in the little white book. So very, very modest or forgetful designers there. 78 cards comes with, well, it doesn't come with. It comes with a little white book, and then if you want, you can buy a big white book to go with it. Now, this was a lovely present from a lovely friend, which means that if I have any reservations about it, I won't really go into those in any great detail because it was a present and that would be rude. But what I want to say is strategy for getting hold of these. I do recommend them. I recommend just getting the cards. I don't recommend the book. I found the book over cerebral, sort of overdeveloped, sort of very brain frying. The authors were saying, you know, it's a little bit based on tarot. Well, it is. It's 78 cards. And then they were saying, you know, tarot is 4 elements and stuff. But actually, I think this entire pack of cards is sort of really about creativity. And like, what a wonderful thing to have a pack of cards to help you with. Creativity. We all love creativity. I think the designers have created a very lovely pack of cards, which I highly recommend for creative brainstorming. But it's almost like in their heads, they sort of tie themselves up in knots. And I think they would maybe tie you up in knots if you tried to take this book at face value and get heavily into it. I'll explain a little bit more about what I mean as we go along. My basic principle in life is that reading cards and being creative should decrease the amount of confusion in your life, not increase it. And my reservation about this book is that it might increase the amount of confusion in your life. So, as I say, 78 cards, and very, very loosely based on the tarot. You could maybe say inspired by the tarot. So we have, 22 inspired by major arcana, and then here we have these 4 suits. Now, the 4 suits are sort of inspired conceptually by the 4 suits in the tarot, but as I will explain, they're quite far away from it. And I think if you try to use this pack as a tarot pack, it will end in tears. It'll drive you mad. In this book here, and in a condensed form in the little white book, they give meanings for their cards. Now, I actually think the beauty of these cards, the glory of these cards, is that they are insane and surrealistic, and they're highly suggestive, and they are highly visual. And I don't think you need any white book, little or big, to help you with that. They've got, for each card, they've got two different ways of reading the card. They've got a little parable, which is very I Ching style. He tells someone that he will be the best pilot in the world. He tells someone else that he will be the king of the pirates. To others, he says that he will become a genius of music. He is satisfied with his changeable purposes, because they are all true and nobody can contradict him, because he is a child with the dream of 1,000 possible existences still in his eyes. These little stories, these little texts, they're very nice. I like them. There's nothing wrong with them. But as I say, how complex do you want this process of divination to be? I find I Ching exceedingly complex, and I think that this booklet of little parables to go with this deck of cards is, maybe in 10 years' time I'll come back to it, but at the moment I cannot get my brain around it. And each card has a little parable, and then each card has a little one liner. In this case, go back to the start. Now these one liners are sometimes connected with the parables, sometimes they're not, which again is fine. But how much of this do you need? The little one-liners, I think, are better than the parables. They're a bit like Brian Eno's Oblique strategies. But frankly, I don't really see a very strong connection between all this written material and the visual material. So, as I say, my advice is to chuck the books, just crack open this pack of beautiful cards and enjoy them. Now here we have the first 22, which, as you will see, there are clear reminiscences of the major arcana. 3, I mean, that would have been Empress, wouldn't it? So we have, a kind of female shape there, to put it mildly. Six, that would have been the Lovers, wouldn't it? 7 would have been the Chariot. Here we have the black and white beasts. 8, Strength or Justice. That looks like a perpetual motion machine, doesn't it? A kind of Wheel of Fortune. 11, Strength or Justice. 13. 14, Temperance. A black and a white energy in balance there. Nice stuff. 15, something devilish there. 16, something a bit disastrous there. 17, a star visible there. 18, Moon. I love these images. The first time I drew that, I thought, oh, that's a bit nightmarish. There's a face there. And I thought, oh, maybe it's not a face. Maybe it's a teepee or a wigwam, and there's a light, and there's people sitting in there cooking my dinner or something. And so that is, that's not a horror, that's a refuge. So I think these are all really nice, suggestive, and rather brilliant images. And here we have the sun. So we see a sun, and that's like a very phallic version of the sun. Judgment card and a world card. Oh, and there we have 22, which I guess is their version of Fool. I mean, really, really, really nice. And I think actually those first 22 are the most beautiful ones. And we use this pack. Me and my art collective used this pack as a residency that we did last month. And we drew a card every day at the beginning of our day. And they were great. And we tended to draw the major arcanas, actually. The vast majority of the cards that we pulled were majors. So here we go for the minors. Now, I've forgotten how the designers, I'll just keep flipping through. I've forgotten how the designers matched their four suits with the tarot four suits. I don't really want to go there because, frankly, there's always room for disagreement between tarotists. And I find I just am not on the same wavelength with the designers when it comes to these tarot correspondences. So you can see you're in a suit and they're using the same kind of shapes and colours during this suit. And they're brilliant images. I mean, they are very, very provocative. And as they say in the book, some are elegant and some are kind of ugly. And, the subconscious is not an interior design service. The subconscious responds to elegance and ugliness, balance and imbalance. Again, another reason why I find these absolutely impossible to relate directly one-to-one to tarot is the court cards. I mean, there we go. 11, 12, 13 and 14 in this suit, whatever this suit is. And as the designers say, they go off-piste. They slightly let go of the colours and shapes they used in the first 10, and they go a bit extravagant with it. But I can't remember whether they do page, queen, knight, king, or whatever they do. I know they do something similar to tarot, but it's not the same as tarot. It's a different order. And at this point, my brain is just too fried. So I think, okay, I'm just going to look at the images. So the second suit, and what I want to say is here that the suits, they have Arabic numerals on them, and then you see that the major arcanas have Roman numerals on them. So that's how you can sort of keep track of where you're at. So me and my friends, we have an art collective, and we got this residency, and we were there for a month, and we started every day more or less at 10 a.m. And we would draw one of these cards. And it was just a way of getting things flowing. It was a very surreal way of starting the conversation in a way, because these are very random. Well, because, you're drawing cards at random. And also because these, as I say, they're a bit like those ink blot tests. They're not as random as ink blots, but they're not representational, are they? They're suggestive. They are very suggestive. Third suit. And we would disagree about what the cards suggested. And, sometimes one of us might have something on his or her mind that needed to be expressed at that morning meeting. I don't mean a grouch, but I mean just some creative impulse, some direction for the day. And the card might provide a way of, like an inspirational, sort of randomized way in which that desire could be placed in the context of the art process. It was great. So I think for artists, these are absolutely fantastic. Fourth suit. In the course of a 4-week residence, this is one of the cards that we drew more than once. I see a number of things in it. It looks like a castle, a tower on a chessboard with a hole in it. It also looks like maybe something that you might use to, slice eggs or something, a sort of kitchen implement. We got that. That could be, and it depends. We were sitting around a table, and so some people saw these cards upside down, and some people saw them the right way up. Slightly uterine, that card. So you can see each suit has its colour scheme, and this is a card that we drew, and we talked about it for quite some time. Is that a mirror? It's interesting because sometimes you get the feeling that the design carries on outside the framing of the card. Quite often you see this shape here as if you're looking at the planet, as if there's a sort of a global feeling to a lot of these cards, which of course is very nice. Getting to the end here, and here we have the 4 crazy so-called court cards of the 4th suit. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was the lovely Intuiti Creative Cards. My advice is, run out and get yourself a bag, because you can't have too many packs of creative brainstorming cards in your life, can you? I'll be back in 2 weeks' time. Bye.